If your wife doesn't want to have sex, watch this. Hey, welcome back for another episode of Porn Rewire, the podcast. I'm Dr. Trish Leigh, very excited to be here today for If Your Wife Doesn't Want to Have Sex, Watch This. This is going to be an awesome episode for all those people out there who proclaim that their wife doesn't want to have sex with them, or if your wife doesn't want to do certain acts. Okay, so here's what we're going to break down today. Number one, we are going to think about why your wife potentially doesn't want to have sex with you or doesn't want to engage in a particular act. You can fill the act in. Number two is, what can you control? Number three, which is your brain hack strategy for the day on how to start improving your sex life so it includes the things, the healthy things that you enjoy, and so your wife's having some fun again. A month ago, some of our friends were ripping on another friend because he had shared with someone that his wife doesn't want to engage in one particular sexual act. So of course, everybody else, I wasn't around for this, but his friends started to rip on him. So in this episode, this comes from my heart to a friend who might need to hear it, and all those other friends out there who are thinking the same thing. I can't get my wife to be with me, and especially these things I enjoy, I can't get her to do. I'm going to share with you how you figure that out, okay? So this here episode is going to help everybody feel better about your sex life. Okay, number one, what is going on? So another part of what's going on in terms of if your wife doesn't want to be with you or doesn't want to do certain acts. So back to that story about a friend. The men who were ripping on my friend actually qualified the conversation about, and apparently it was a big roar, about what's going on with 50-year-old women not wanting to have sex. Well, I am 50 years old, and here's what I'm here to tell you. 50-year-old women have no problem having sex if they're incentivized in the right direction. If they're getting out of that sexual experience what they are longing for. And so I want you to know that you have influence over your partner, but you can't control what happens with your partner. So of course, there might be variables that your partner has to go to work on. And I'll give you some examples from a 50-year-old woman's perspective. I have 5.5 beautiful children. It is a lot of energy going out there to regulate other people, constantly dealing with teenager madness. That is very dysregulating from an arousal standpoint. So to feel sexually aroused, each one of us has to be in a healthy baseline arousal state. You have to feel calm and focused. And if the system comes down a little and you're feeling pretty good, then you're able to get into an arousal state where a sexual experience feels good. But if you're all jacked up, you're all stressed out, and you're all fatigued and overwhelmed and exhausted, it is difficult to get into an arousal state that sex feels good, unless you are in a hypersexual state in the first place. If you're consuming pornography, that's likely the case. If you're in a hypersexual manner or mode, then basically you're ready to go at all times, not because it's born out of the healthy desire to be with a partner sexually for connection and for pleasure and for happiness and joy. It's because your brain's in a hypersexual state looking for sex to feel good. If your partner can't get into a calm and focused, healthy, chill state to be able to get into a sexually aroused state, that could be part of the problem for her. And if you're living a busy life with kids, and if you own your own business like I do, and your hubs owns his own business like mine does, and you've had to move out of your home for a year because it's been decimated, there's a lot going on. You have to work hard, and you have to be intentional to be able to create the time and the space to relax and bring the system down so that you can get into a sexually aroused manner. I want you to know that you have to be in a healthy place to be able to get sexually aroused. And this might be a good time to remind you that what we're talking about here is healthy sexuality, which in fact is relational. What does relational mean? It means it's shared. It's not one person taking from another while that person gives. And you know what the solution to that is? Start giving. And I know what you're thinking, some of you at least, is that I'm okay with giving. I can't get my partner to give. And likely it's because of distorted dynamics. But in number one right now, I want you to think about what are all the things your partner has on her plate. And this can also, be a male partner. It doesn't have to just be her. Think of your partner, all the things that are on her plate. And are those things making it so that it's difficult to get into that chill baseline, healthy arousal in general mode to be able to be relaxed enough and focused enough to be able to have a sexual experience with you and enjoy it? Because that is likely part of the problem. Intentionality, time and space. Number one thing that was going to help, a door handle. So it may not be an actual door handle in your life, but think of it as a proverbial door handle. Your partner needs a door handle to feel safe, secure, and let the system come down to be able to engage in healthy sexuality. Relationally shared. And remember, you can't control if she shows up and gives, but you can definitely be intentional about creating time and space so that it feels good to her and that the system can come down. Number two is, okay, what does porn do to your brain that might be impacting your partner? Now, you might be thinking, my partner doesn't even know I watch porn. So we're going to cover that one first, is that many times your partner does know, they just haven't told you that they know. This happens in many relationships because a partner convinces themselves it's no big deal, or a partner doesn't want to create conflict. The partner might be people pleasing and want to please you. So what happens is then it flies under the radar and there becomes distorted dynamics in the relationship, which can be really painful for everybody because you have this porn addiction or compulsive masturbation or sexual acting out, your secret sex life, as I call it, and your partner might know what it is or just has a sense that something's going on. They usually know that something's happening to disrupt the relational, healthy sexual relationship, because we know that porn addiction and compulsive sexual behavior, it escalates. So when it comes to porn consumption and sexual acting out, it's a downward spiral unless you do something positive, like listen to this podcast and go talk to your partner. But here's what I want you to know in section number 2 is that your partner likely knows that something's up. They feel it in the bedroom. And this is how. Because when you have a porn habit, it changes your brain. We know this. This is a neurobiological addiction. The seeds are planted in adolescence. If you water those seeds, they grow. Downward spiral. So what happens as they grow is that there's tolerance, there's escalation. It leads to objectification for high levels of dopamine. What that means is you need to get more intense experiences more frequently, sometimes with your partner, sometimes without your partner, but you need it for a dopamine flood. So here's the part where I want you to search your mind, search your heart, and use your cognition to think about what I'm saying so you can control the things that you can control. Not your partner, but you. So if you're still consuming porn, here's the challenge. Get your journal out and think about the things that you enjoy the most, or maybe that act that your 50-year-old wife doesn't want to do anymore. Is it because it's an objectified agenda? Be real with yourself. This exercise is just for you. Search your mind, search your heart. Is it something that you're just trying to take from her and it's no longer shared? And it could be an act that was shared as foreplay, or it was shared in the past, but now it's taken on a life of itself because it's the thing you want the most because it has the most dopamine. I hope you're following me here because this is important. So search your mind and your heart for that. And recognize if that's the thing you want the most, not the shared experience, your partner knows that. Your partner's onto you and they don't want to give it to you because they don't want to be used as a tool. Let's segue to number 3, which is the brain hack strategy for today. Number 1, use your beautiful brain if you can, because it might be stuck in this compulsive sexual behavior mode. Use your brain to analyze the hypersexuality that's entered in. Are you looking for sex for mood regulation, to offset stress, or to offset boredom? It's mostly stress. So do you want to be with your partner as a de-stressor? Your partner's not your de-stressor. She's supposed to be someone that you share a beautiful experience with. Then secondarily, set the example. Start setting the mood. Start being intentional, space and time. Start creating a way to help your partner downshift and feel safe and secure in your sexual relationship. It does not include porn. You have to leave porn behind to be able to get yourself and her there. And if you haven't left porn behind, again, go to my website, drtrishleigh.com. Go under the Porn Brain Rewire programs and look at the 90-day program. It has everything you need to be able to leave porn behind. It's imperative if you're going to rewire your sexual relationship, which there's a module in that program on rewiring your relationship. And then third, communication. Start becoming vulnerable and start tapping into intimacy with your partner. You don't need a roommate who you never have sex with. And it starts with healthy communication. Why don't you want to have sex with me? I see that you don't want to do these things. Can we talk about it? What's on your mind? But you have to get your brain into that optimal mode to be able to enter into these conversations. And remember, it's influence and example. It's not telling your partner to do these things. It's shifting the climate so she wants to again. If she is still with you, she wants to again. She's just convinced herself she doesn't. Nobody in the world wants to go through life without a beautiful sexual experience with their partner in crime. All right, that's what I want for you. So I hope if it feels good, please go over to my website, check it out. And if not, implement those strategies. Figure this thing out in your mind, set an example, and then start communicating. It'll save your life. Okay, until next time, control your brain or it'll control you.